girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Clutch Conversations. It's your boy Mike, back at you one more again on a Thursday evening. Thank you for everybody for coming out to the show tonight. Really looking forward to tonight's episode. First and foremost, I want to give a few quick shout outs. So shout out to Takara. Thank you for controlling the comments. Appreciate you, wifey. And shout out to all the folks that are in the chat. Thank you for all the early pippers that came out. Want to give y'all a real quick shout out. So what's good, Eric? Thanks for coming out, bruh. Zach, bruh, thanks for coming out, fam. PCF, thanks for coming out. Chris, what's good, bro? Thanks for coming out. Y'all make sure y'all check us out later this month. We got Chris and Levi on the show. Snakes for the Memories, thanks for coming out, fam. Tammy, what's good? Thanks for coming out. Lakers, what's good? Thanks for coming out. Pravada, thanks for coming out. Thank you for everybody coming out in the chat, showing support. Speaking of support, make sure you're supporting U.S. Art and U.S. Art Florida. The link for both organizations is in the description of this video. We got one more person just popped up. What's good, Dom? Thanks for coming out. Thank you for coming out. So tonight on the show, we got Austin from Royal Highness Pythons. So we're going to bring him to the show. What's good, bro?
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing?
How you doing, good, Mike? Man. Good, man. Good to have you.
Yeah. Me and Mike met at Tinley. He's a great guy. I was happy to be on the show. I had to do it. So blessed to be here. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you coming out, bro. Like, it was all love at the show, man. It was good. Good vibes.
Yeah.
All the way down to Culver's, bro.
Yeah, we saw each other at Culver's after. That was my second time there. It's a pretty good place. We don't have that here.
Okay, word. That was actually my first time. Like, we don't have those here either.
Oh, shit. So, yeah.
That was my first time. It was good. Yeah, it was good. Good. Got a chance to grow out. Yeah, that was real good, bro. Yeah. So I'll definitely hit up that spot next time I go to Tinley, bro. So next year, I'm gonna definitely hit that spot up again. That's a spot now. And it's right around the way too.
Literally, across the street.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I see you smoking on a fatty.
Yep, backwoods.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Hey, so real quick, I know everybody know you. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself personally, like outside of the reptiles.
Outside of reptiles?
Yeah.
Jeez, I never got asked that question. So, yeah, I grew up in Toronto, Canada, and then I recently moved to like a suburb next to Toronto. And well, it wasn't recently, probably about 7 years ago, and that's when I first started working for mutation creation and getting to the snakes. But before that, I was just a high school kid before I got into the snakes. I used to play soccer. I went pretty far in it, but gave it up for girls and for a job. And then snakes got in the way. And then snakes have been my life ever since, pretty much.
So how did you get into the snakes? Like, what drew you into it?
Oh, when I was a kid, I remember like kindergarten, some kid brought like a corn snake for show and tell. And then ever since then, I was asking my mom for a snake, my dad, and then they just were not about it. So it took a couple of years, and then they finally bought me a hamster. So it wasn't a snake; it was more like snake food. But
yeah, for sure.
That lasted for a while, and then when I was like 16, I just went out and bought a snake. Actually, I think I was 15. Went out and bought my first snake. It was a ball python, but then I actually got out of the ball pythons, went into retics and boas, bred that for a little bit.
Oh, nice.
I was into the super dwarfs and the dwarf retics because the mainlands are illegal where I was, and but it was a lot of fun, a lot of close calls, a lot of nice bites from the retics, and then after a while I just got straight into the ball pythons, sold all the retics, kept a couple of boas, and eventually got out of the boas and just went straight into ball pythons.
Okay, so what drew you back into the ball pythons?
Oh, I just saw, like, when I first got in, everything was, like, really expensive. Like, for me, at least. I was a high school kid, and $300 was expensive for me, and that's, like, what a spider was going for. So I definitely couldn't afford the morphs, so I got into the boas, and I worked my way up, made some money in there, and the retics. I sold those to get initially into some ball pythons, did some trades, and I just seen, like, where the hobby was and, like, where it was going. And like how many more people, how much more positive it was. So when I first looked into the ball pythons, everyone was saying it was hard. There was not a lot of information about it. But then slowly, like a lot more came out. Like especially like 2015, 2016, I seen a lot of people putting a lot of information out. that pushed me a lot to get into it more. And that's when I really like to dive deep into it.
So who were you looking at then back in 2015, 2016? Who were you learning from?
I was looking at a lot of Brian Barshek back in the day. He had some really good videos, some
Shout out
good
to Brian.
information for beginners. I was watching Juggernaut Reptiles. He's
Okay.
got some really quick. He wasn't always ball pythons, 'cause he did some like short tails and some angolans and other stuff, but he had a lot of good ball python videos. I used to watch Garrick Meyer a lot, but that was more for like learning the morphs. But I learned most of my breeding stuff probably from Brian Barshek.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So thinking back to like those early days, like you got any good stories share about those early days and some stuff you went through?
Uh, not good stories. A lot of like a lot of mistakes were made. I lost a lot of clutches.
Yeah. So
I
tell us about some of that.
oh like I had my first incubator was pretty bad. It was like a makeshift wine cooler, and my first clutch went bad ever, and it was just a horrible experience. Almost made me like not want to breed the ball pythons again. But luckily enough, I had two clutches that year, and the second clutch actually made it full term because I got a better incubator,
Oh,
and I
nice.
hatched my first bell, my first clutch, and it was like a great experience. And then lost a couple of snakes in the past, but not closing bins all the way, feeding, putting, maybe leaving a snake that was too big in a bin that was a little too small for it, and it pushed its way out. Then once I had my whole hatching rack, about like 45 snakes, all came out because one bigger snake got out, pushed them all out, and I was looking for hatchlings all around my bedroom at the time. It
Oh,
was a little
wow.
hectic. Yeah, and I even had one where I sold a snake, and that day the snake got out, and I had to go call my neighbor over to help me, and me and him looked for like I think 3 hours, and then we gave up, and it finally just came out by itself. And it was a really like stressful experience for sure.
So what kept you pushing though? Because I know it's a lot of challenges, especially in the beginning. I mean, it's
Oh,
challenges the whole time,
I-
but definitely in the beginning.
I'm just the type of person when there's challenges, like it doesn't scare me. I like to like go at it, even if I fail a couple of times. I know like I'll get it right if I keep trying. You know.
Gotcha, gotcha. And so,
Yeah.
at what point did you say, "Hey, I'm gonna do this as a business"?
Uh, I was saying that before I even really got into it, but once like probably like 3 or 4 years ago is when I'm like, you know what, I'm really gonna gear everything towards this. Like my collection was already getting, it wasn't at a beginner level anymore. It was more intermediate, and then I was seeing where, especially when I started seeing what Billy was doing and the moves he was making, it was a lot easier for me to go and make similar moves and like take those steps because I see it worked for him, and it was kind of giving me that reassurance to like go and put more into it.
Okay, okay. So, how did your collection start off? Like, it was more of a like single gene codoms and stuff like
A
that.
lot
Like,
of
what did that first?
pastel cinnamons, Mojaves, Lessers, spiders. Like it was horrible at first. Like it wasn't horrible. I liked them. I was just trying to make bells at first. That was my like main thing. Maybe some like really nice pastel stuff, pastel Enchi stuff. I wasn't really thinking for the future back then. I was just looking at what I liked, what looked cool at the time. And then I started buying some hets that weren't hets off like Kijiji, which is our Craigslist, and that really like shaped me up into gear into like learning where to buy, go to reputable breeders, ask for pictures. Don't just go and believe everything you see, right? 'Cause I really got bit hard and really bad. Like I was buying snakes that had genes that were not in the snake, so it made me learn up real quickly.
So, you was buying a bunch of hits that wasn't really hits.
Yeah, even and then I made one really big mistake. It was when Banana was crashing and like I think it was like 2016, 20, maybe even earlier, 2015. I had like a couple of proven breeder pied females, and like I saw the market crashing hard. Like with a lot of the prices were coming down. Banana was like 10,000, and then the same year it went to like 300 or 400 bucks, and that was scaring me a lot. And I was like, maybe I should get out. And I sold two proven breeder pied females for $350 each.
Oh man.
So that's one of the biggest mistakes I ever made in the hobby. Like, yeah. And that actually pushed me harder because like after that happened to me, I'm like, I'm never gonna do something like this again. I have to recover, and like after recovering, like I just had that drive to keep going after, you know.
So, what was kind of like? Hold on a second. What was kind of like an inflection point? Like early on that kind of like changed your trajectory? Was it like getting involved with Billy, or was it something different?
Even before getting involved with Billy, I was just noticing how like I was producing the same snakes a lot of other people were, and I was making my and like they're a lot lower end stuff, like below $300-400. Like those things sell, but when you have competition with everyone, it's gonna be harder to sell. So that's when I started like, you know what, I have to go pick a lane to go into. I chose like the pied at first, and then I started getting into the clown, and I kind of left the pied aside and just went heavy into the clown because that's where Billy was just starting to get into. He had a lot of pied stuff, and the clown, Justin was just, I think Justin just had the leopard clown around that time. He just made it, and it was like it blew up, and right just before he made the Batman, I'm like made the decision. I'm like, clown's the way to go, and I'm so glad I did.
Gotcha. Is clown your favorite recessive?
No, Ultramel is.
Ultramel is your favorite recessive. So what
Yeah.
recessives are you working with? Clown, Ultramel, Pod. What else?
Uh, the heaviest, like from like the heaviest hitters to the lowest, I have like Clown, then Ultramel, Pied, Enhancer, which is like Desert Ghost, a little bit different though. And then I got some Rainbow and then some Dreamsicle stuff, Hypo stuff.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
And so
kind of
I
everywhere.
assume, and so you're gonna be doing like a lot of doubles and triples. You're gonna ever get into the quads and stuff.
I actually have some breeder females, and I actually had like I just talked about this on my last podcast. I'm gonna make a video about it so you guys can see the pictures. But I did a pairing of a pastel quad het female. She's quad het for VPI, hypo, rainbow, and pied. And then I paired her to an Enchi quad het male, and I had 5 eggs. I hit one pastel Enchi hypo rainbow pied, and it didn't make it out of the egg. And then I hit an Enchi VPI Rainbow Snow that looked hypo as well, and it was Enchi, and it had a huge ringer on the tail, so it looked at pied, but didn't make it as well. So
Damn,
I got everything that was visual rainbow in the clutch didn't make it. I don't know if it was
damn.
because they were sibling, two parents, so it might be inbreeding because I haven't seen a lot of rainbow stuff. A lot of other people I know, Big D, he's in Canada. He had a rainbow clutch, and he had similar things happen where the clutch didn't make it after, and it's the only clutch he had. They were thriving at first and just didn't make it. Same thing happened with me. They looked really good in the egg, and then one day it came out. Both of them were just out of the egg, umbilical still attached. They both looked fine, so I think it might be weak genetics. I might have to outbreed and then breed back.
Do you think it's like those genetics for those particular animals, or do you think it has something to do with the actual gene?
I think it might because I have Rainbow's been out for a long time. Like I know that some people are producing them successfully. You got Dave Palumbo. He's been making some crazy hurricane rainbow stuff with the hypo as well. But I just haven't had good luck, and some other people I know who have like similar genetics haven't had good luck. So it might just be the inbreeding on our side, especially because a lot of the stuff I don't know of how well it was outbred because inbreeding doesn't really affect ball pythons initially, but if you continually inbreed down the line, you will get issues with like shark mouths and maybe even deformities and stuff like this.
So like, how many generations deep should you go? Like
Uh,
two, three, four.
so the dad of the quad heads is already an inbred snake, so it's a pastel Enchi hypo rainbow, so it's probably a double head to double head or siblings. And I think that might play a factor because I'm already breeding weaker genetics, and that was bred to a VPI pied, and then those quad het siblings are now being bred together. So I've seen it with some other stuff where multiple inbreeding will give kinks, like deform, like almost like a spider. You'll get like wobbles and stuff, and like sometimes they just won't make it out of the egg. So that's what I'm chalking this up to. I might be wrong, but that's just what it looks like right now. And I've talked to a few other people who think it's the same thing.
Gotcha. Because I put a orange dream black pastel inchy fire clown to a super inchy lesser hypo female, and so like she dropped like when we was at 10, as a matter of fact. And so those
Oh shit.
eggs should be pipping like any day now. Day 57 will be like Monday, this Monday coming. And so I'm hoping like I get like some really good odds. Everything either gonna be super inchy or black pastel, and then obviously everything is double head hypo clown. And I'm hoping
Yeah.
I get like good sex odds too. but
A lot of
I'll
females.
probably hold a male back, you know what I'm saying, like the most powerful male, and hopefully it's like the all gener, like or at least something close to it. Obviously, we don't want to go lesser to lesser or black pastel to black pastel,
Yeah.
but I'm hoping to get like good odds and like a good distribution of the genetics, because at some point I may put like a brother and a sister back together, and so I'm wondering if there might be any issues with that. What you think
With
about that?
that, with that, I don't see issues. It's when like if you breed like a brother and sister together, and then you might breed like one of those babies back. That's when I see like issues start arising, where you're getting like you're not getting as many like eggs in the clutch, and you're getting some babies or some eggs just not making a full term in the incubator. So I've only noticed it with like 2 to 3 generations of inbreeding. One generation seems to be fine. I've heard some people do up to 4 with nothing wrong, but I've seen people do 3, and I've done myself 3, and I've seen a little bit of issues. And with the quad heads, it might just be that the rainbow gene itself is a little bit more weak as well, because it hasn't been like outbred as much, like out of the wild. But that's just what I'm chalking it up to right now. Breeding brother to sister usually doesn't have an issue.
Okay,
So as long as you don't have
okay,
like generations in the past that produce like
okay.
yeah.
Do you see like any other breeding practices that consistently produce issues?
Uh, Overbreeding a male, you'll get a lot of slugs. That's probably the only other one. Other than that, there's really none. And overfeeding a female. I noticed if you overfeed a female, especially when she's closer to like ovulating, she reabsorbs.
She reabsorbs. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had actually had two girls give me like one girl completely slugged out. It wasn't like a super powerful clutch, but still she completely slugged out. And then I had another one, which I was really anticipating this clutch. So it's like an inchy red stripe Batman to super pastel butter DG. And she basically sucked out. She gave me one good egg. And so that one good egg is an incubator. And I'm hoping that's like an all gender female. But
Hopefully, man.
hopefully. But I was a little surprised because like before then, like I might have had one or two bad eggs, but then like I had two girls slug fairly close to each other. And like I was talking to a guy and he was saying that it was probably the male's fault, because if the female produced slugs, then she's gone through everything biologically that she needs to go through to produce the eggs, and it's something on the male, like maybe it was too warm for him, and so when he was breeding, like at that time, it would have been like the summertime. It was too warm for him. It might have like killed his sperm. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, if you do overheat the males, you can get a lower sperm count, or even overbreed them too, because they can only like replenish so much, right? So if you're doing like 9, 10 females, and you're not really like, spreading out the pairings, your male will run out towards the end. So that's why it's better to people say 4 to 5 females. Sometimes you can stretch it if you have like an ultrasound and you know when to hit it. But if you don't have that, keeping it to like 6 females max for a bigger male is ideal, because you won't run out of sperm and you'll have consistent larger clutches. Because we notice with smaller males, especially first time males, if we run them to like 3 females, the first 2 clutches are good. Sometimes even the second clutch is not too good, but the last clutch is always a lot of slugs, or it's just not that many eggs.
Okay, so this male, it was his first year breeding. He was about 700 grams or so. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that had anything to do with it.
That's a
He
good
was a
size.
quick locker. That's
Yeah.
yeah. He a quick locker. Like he go right in. Like he gets straight to work. Like he don't waste no time, bro. Like I put him in there. 30 minutes later, he locked up, looking like yeah.
Jeez.
And like he gets straight to work. And so he actually already locked up with two girls for like this coming season or whatever. So yeah, we're gonna see. But yeah, I thought it was interesting that I had like in terms of like good eggs to bad eggs ratio, like it was all good at the beginning, but then right at the end of the season, I started having like some issues like with more slugs than what I was accustomed to seeing. And so I wonder if it had something to do with like it just getting hotter and maybe I need to adjust temps or something like that. And so I think what I'm gonna try next year, because I'm really in like that testing phase, and I probably always will be somewhat in the testing phase. Like some
Mm-hmm.
things I might get a better handle on and do it the same way year over year, but I'm still like
Yeah.
trying to feel my way around with a lot of stuff. So I think I'm gonna start keeping my males a little bit cooler just to make myself feel better and see if that works too.
Yeah, a lot of people like to keep the males like 89, 90 in the hot spot and keep the females like 92, 94. So 2 degrees cooler definitely won't hurt them from eating or anything, and it could save their sperm count. So definitely a
Yeah,
good move. Like always,
yeah.
like
So
Billy, like we keep our snakes here in like a different rack. We still have like our males in a different rack than our females, so we have our own male rack. But we do have like it's like a medium-sized freedom breeder rack. I forgot what the in size is, but we do have some males in those racks. Those racks, I think they're running a little cooler than the actual female racks on the other side, because running them a little hotter, obviously.
okay, and you breeding all year round too, right?
Yeah, so basically every 3 weeks, or actually every 2 weeks, we're ultrasounding. But we have the system where if a female has follicles over 11 millimeters, she's getting a yellow clip on her, and that's when we start pairing. So we check the yellow clip ones every 2 weeks, and then the next 2 weeks we check the ones that have no yellow clips. So we know which ones are now getting into the breeding ready, getting their season ready, and then we start pairing them. And then now we're cycling out females. So when a female lays, she now goes to the other side, and we wait about 4 months after they lay to re-ultrasound.
All right. So question for you. So do y'all always like without fail wait till the female gets to about 11 millimeters or more, or do
Yeah,
y'all? Because I know I talked to some folks and they say like they feel like a jump off pairing like stimulates follicle growth. What do you think about that?
like I've done that in the past. Like that's how I used to work before the ultrasound. Like I would pair no matter what, just to like stimulate that. I do believe that like copulation does stimulate follicle growth, but I don't find it necessary to, because I do find that most of the females get up to 11 when their time's ready. So if they're not there, it doesn't hurt just waiting for them to get there. Use your male. You get to use your male properly. For other females, you're not wasting sperm.
That
So
makes
it's
sense.
more beneficial for me that way.
Gotcha, gotcha. And you leave your males in for like a week.
Yeah, about a week, sometimes longer if they're still locked, like 9, 10 days. I've tried in the past leaving like 2 weeks. I had really good success with it. It's just now I don't have that. I have way more females than I did back then, and I'm stretching my males out a lot longer. So I'm doing about a week max now, but at least like 3 to 4 days.
So I imagine that like that affects the number of females you can put them to, because I imagine they lock like multiple times, like during that week to 2 week span. Do you only like do you reserve that for like males that you're not putting as many females to?
If I have like one male, I'll go for like two females. I will leave them in there longer, just to like see what it goes. Especially if it's like a female that I really want to get her going, like I want a nice big clutch from her. I'll leave the male in a little bit longer. But if it's just like if I want like an 8 egg clutch in this male, like I need him. Like, there's like equal amount of females that the same potential. I'm just gonna spread them equally out.
Okay, yeah, because I was wondering about that. So like what I do right now is like I wait for them to lock, and then I wait for them to unlock, and as soon as I see that they're unlocked, I take them out. Like that's what I've been doing. Um, do you feel like you have more success when you leave them in there longer?
I do, and I first heard this from Billy. Some people in Europe were trying that. They were leaving them. They were breeding ball pythons more like you do boas, and with boas you leave the male in for like 2, 3 months, and you feed them. You can pull them out to feed, or you leave them feed them like together. But some people are actually leaving one male with one female for 2, 3 months, and they're getting follicles growing faster and larger clutches apparently. So I kind of believe it's true. So that's why I do it this way, and I have seen better success with it. So it's definitely something to try if you haven't already.
Okay. Yeah, so speaking of boas and speaking of messing up like at the beginning, so when we first start like acquiring snakes, I wanted to breed like boas, I wanted to breed carpet pythons, I wanted to breed ball pythons. But as I started learning more, I realized I needed to pump the brakes on a lot. And so we pumped the brakes on the boas, we pumped the brakes on the carpet pythons, and we like really focused on ball pythons. But with the boas, one of the things that I didn't realize like right out the gate is that you can't like spread a male around like you can spread around a ball python male, right? And
Yeah.
so that's one of the things that like really like caught me by surprise. Like as I was acquiring snakes, and then I kind of like learned that as I was going. I was like, I didn't know that. And yeah, so. Have you ever tried to breed boas, or you just own them a
Oh no,
few times?
I did breed boas before. So I had two
Oh, you
litters.
did breed them?
My first litter was really bad. I think I had like 17 stillborns. I had a couple of slugs, and then I had 5 that made it, and the second clutch I had 21 that made it. So a
Yeah,
lot better.
21 that made it.
Yeah, so it was a lot better,
Nice.
and yeah, I wholesaled most of them because they were just like
So
nice
what did
little
you
jumbo.
change up between the two pairings? Did you change up anything, or did you just
Uh,
happen to have better luck?
I think it was I left the male in longer because the first I was pairing them and I was pulling the male out, leaving him for a week after he ate, and putting him back in. This time I was feeding them together, so I had just better success that way.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna breed boas. Right now we just keep them as pets.
Yeah, they're
But
pretty cool though. Like they're good.
so from what I've seen and what I've read and what I've heard, it seems a lot more challenging than breeding ball pythons, and so that's one of the reasons I kind of pump the brakes. It's like let's just focus on ball pythons right now, get decent at that, and then start adding on as necessary.
I heard some people say that. Some people say it's easier. I found it a little bit harder myself, but I think I just didn't have enough resources and like, knowledge around me. As like the ball python right now, there's infinite knowledge. Everyone has like their own little like way of doing it, and like everyone like has their own way that works for them, right? So like one way that works for me is not gonna always work for you, especially because we're in different climates. We have different like atmosphere pressure and stuff, right? So
Yeah,
wherever works for you works for you. And I know a lot of people, especially like when I was breeding, like back in like 2014, 2015, a lot of information was kept like hush. No one wanted to like help each other, like especially like in ball pythons as well. But the boas, it was like a lot of people were being like there's a lot of like shady stuff. Like there was that Princess Diamond boa that like Jeremy Stone brought in. Like there was a whole sketchiness around that. Like there's a whole lot of sketchy stuff happening in the hobby. I felt with boas at the time, and no one was really saying like telling the truth and like how they bred. And without that, like you have a lot of people guessing, and when people guess, of course, not a lot of people are going to get it right. So it does seem harder at first. But ball pythons now seem easy to breed. A lot of people are getting into it first year. They're having successful clutches. So I'm pretty sure the boas might be like that in the future when a lot more knowledge is spread and shared. So
yeah. I feel like maybe I'm not plugged in with like the right folks, but I feel like it's way more ball python knowledge out there and way more like
oh yeah,
resources to tap into for ball pythons than it is for boas.
yeah, it's the biggest thing in the hobby, right? So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
biggest
Like it's
reptile in the
just
hobby.
it's like not even close, bro. Not even close. I actually wouldn't mind getting a few boa folks on the show. I just gotta get on the grind and find
Yep.
some folks. All right, so you spoke about your projects like early in the day and how you kind of came in with like some of the lower end stuff and you made some mistakes. So talk about like where you are now with your projects, what you're focusing on, like future goals, and like where you see yourself in the future.
Right now I'm working a lot. Like I made a lot of triple and quad heads this year, and I made some visual double heads. We're making some visual triple heads right now. I'm working like really gearing towards double recessive projects. I have like a bunch of dream school project going on right now. Ultra Male Clown, I'm gonna have a bunch of that going on, and I'm really trying to focus on like double recessives and then gear towards moving into the triples. So like right now I just made some triple Ultra Male Clown Pied stuff that I held back, and then but I'm already working Ultra Male Pieds, and I'm making visuals, and I'm gonna be making visual Ultra Male Clowns this year. So I'm gonna hold some of those back, breed those together in the future, so I can make visual double heads, and then like I want my projects to piece together in the future. So it's like a big puzzle right now, just waiting to have all the pieces so that the big picture comes together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. What codoms you working in the Ultra Clown project, or any
Uh,
of them for that matter, with Ultra
Cy- Cypress as like one of the main
Mill?
focuses. A spot nose yellow belly I have going into it. Mojave, Enchi, a lot of other stuff too. I just don't want to give it like mahogany, a lot of some other cool stuff too. So I don't want to give all of it away.
Okay, okay. We'll let you keep some of it under wraps. We'll
Yeah.
let you keep some of it under wraps. Yeah, but yeah, I really love like a lot of the dark stuff with Ultramel.
Hmm.
Like I think that's gonna hit hard, and I feel
The
like
purples come
Ultramel.
through.
Say again.
The purples come through then. That's when it's
Oh
nice.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. And I feel like people sleeping on a lot of the Ultramel projects. Like a lot of people in it, but it's not getting like the love that like a DG Clown project or something like that's getting. I feel like folks sleeping on Ultramel and what you can do with Ultramel. And I
Yeah,
also
that's
feel like folks sleeping on hypo too. Like it's a lot of like hypo is dope, bro. Like I really love hypo. Like I'm a hypo guy, like to the core, bro. And
yeah. I think
I really love hypo. I feel like they're sleeping on it.
no, hypo is amazing. Like even by itself, there's a lot of stuff that hasn't been done yet, and it's gonna blow people, like just knock people out. Cause like even the GHI lesser or the GHI Mojave hypos, that was something that just blew me away. If you haven't seen one of those, definitely go and search it up. They're like purple, and it's just amazing. And then when you add like if you add hypo into like clown, it makes it that much better. Makes the colors pop, brings in a lot of those purples and oranges. And same thing when you bring it into the ultramel. So in like the future, I'm working towards the ultramel hypo clown. Like I want to get combos of that because it's the nice purples that are gonna come through. Ultramel already brings it, but the hypo just makes it that much better. So it's like
Yeah.
it's good by itself, but it's a great addition to like any other recessive.
Oh hell yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
So what about like high end codoms? Like, do you advise folks like jumping into high end codoms? Do you advise them kind of sitting on the sideline for a while? What your thought process is on that?
I think it really depends where you are. So, like if you have like a really good foundation, especially like around a recessive that works well with that codom. So like if you wanted to go and jump into like not red stripe, redhead. So like redhead's really hot right now. It looks really good inside the clown project. If you have a really good foundation of clowns, a nice spread across the board of females, maybe even some like other recessive heifer clowns, and you go pick up like a redhead clown and drop, I think they're like they're pretty expensive right now. They're over 5,000. So if you go and buy one of those, if you have that collection, it'd be worth it. But if you're just gonna go and buy it and you have a bunch of Mojaves, pastels, and cinnamons and stuff, I wouldn't advise of it. It could definitely take you to potentially make a lot of nice heads, but you're not gonna be using it to its full potential. Where like if you had all those clowns, you could be making groundbreaking combos with that new gene in it. And that's basically what Justin does. Justin goes takes new gene. He has already the greatest foundation, and he's just plugging it into the stuff, seeing what works with it, seeing what doesn't, and then he'll hold it back, wait till it's an adult, and show you a baby. And that's when he's selling them. He already has the adult, so he's a mastermind of this. So like if you have the foundation, you can do so much with the new gene. If not, I say go and build your foundation first, then go and look for the new gene, the next new gene at that time.
So what's your thought on like the hottest codoms out right now? Like the best codom to invest in for your collection?
For my personal collection,
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be redhead because I'm really clown heavy. I have like other double recessive clown projects I could work it into, like groundbreaking stuff. So that'd be something good for me. But if you're not in the clown heavy, I would like if you're in Pied or something else. Like I don't know what's too crazy in Pied right now. I haven't seen anything. The Hurricane Pieds look really cool, so maybe go in that direction, or maybe some. There's a lot of other ways to take it, but I definitely know like even inside the clown, like if you don't have Cypress already, go pick up a really nice Cypress clown. Read some Spano stuff if you have that ready there. That's something I just did. I picked up some Cypress stuff, bringing it to the Ultramel Clown project, getting it in there in the mix. So it's always better to get into the double recessive project if you can. But if it's not on the budget or you don't really have the snakes for it, work the recessives and like don't just go buy that next codom and put it straight to codoms because it doesn't have a long lifespan. You want to go get the longevities inside the recessives, doubles, and then of course the triples and quads because that's long game. It's gonna take you a lot longer to get there. You're in a niche. Not a lot of people are gonna be in there. Not even a lot of people are able to get there. And whatever you release, you have a higher price point because even make those quad recessives, you're gonna have to have two double recessives or even triples. Just to have those, you have to at least spend a lot of money or be really lucky. So you can ask an astronomical price for quad heads. Like you already see Justin, he has quad heads for like 12,000 stuff. Like you can ask those prices because no one else can make those unless they already have those high end ingredients.
True
That's why I
indeed.
think that's why I think the longevity is in the long game. And even holding them back, even though it's like a 1 in 256 odds to hit some of the combos you want to hit, if you don't work towards it, it's never gonna happen. So like I think the longevity is definitely getting into the long game, taking those new codoms, putting them into recessives, and then making that puzzle with your collection where everything's gonna piece together one day, and you're working towards those triples, those three recessives, or a quad with those four recessives you're working with.
So we're working like all the doubles and triples and quad projects you're working right now. Like collection maturity wise, like where are you at? Are you buying a lot of animals still, or are you just primarily producing what you need?
I'm always buying animals. Like if there's an opportunity to get something that's gonna better my collection, and I can do it, I'm always gonna jump at it. It's always gonna be beneficial for you if you can go bigger. If you have the time, the energy, and the drive to go and like get your collection even bigger, or even just upgrade your collection, get that grind to go make more money and just upgrade what you have. I say definitely go and do it because it's gonna put you in a better environment. It's gonna make your collection mature way faster as well. It'll set you to new heights, and your dream will come true a lot faster. That's the
Nice.
biggest
Yeah,
thing.
for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. So in terms of like large investments, do you think it makes more sense to invest more in your males or your females? Me personally, I think it's males because you can kind of like spread that investment around, but I'm interested to
Mhm.
hear your thoughts.
So I think it's the males always. But I have two different ways to look at it. So like the way I did it, so I told you I had a lot of pastels, cinnamon, Mojave, like Bell Complex stuff. I went and I spent like $3,000 on a proven breeder Enchi Blade Clown from Billy at the time when 2016 or 20, I think 2016 I bought it from him, and then I bred that to all those, and I made a bunch of heads, held those back, sold what I didn't want, and like spending that $3,000 breeding it to like $300 or $400 snakes, I was able to make heads that were like 7, 8, and sometimes even up to $1,000. Holding those back, selling the others, I made good money. I was able to reinvest into recessive females, and then it really grew my collection. When my whole back het females were up to size, and I had more money from like what I sold, I invested in a higher end male, and then it just blossomed into what it is now, right? But there's another way to do it. So like if you're just starting out right now, the best thing to do, I'd say, is to go buy recessive females and combo het females. Don't even buy a male for at least a year, because if you buy a male now, it's going to depreciate over time. Like you already know, morphs every year they go down a little bit. So if you buy that male now and you have no females ready for it, you can sit there wasting your money. You just take
Right.
that money, put it into another female, sit on it, feed them for a year. When they're up to like 800 to 1,000 grams, go and buy that male, and now you get the best bang for your bucks. If you saved up for that whole year that you were waiting, you have more money to play with now as well. So you're getting yourself into a better situation. Instead of buying just a combo like clown for all the clowns and heads you bought, you can go buy like a combo ultramo clown. And now you're not just making clown combos, you're making clown het ultramo combos. And those things can sell for a lot more and a lot quicker because there's less competition in it. So when you do stuff like that, it definitely sets you apart, sets you in the right direction, gets the balls rolling properly from the beginning, and it's the best way to make a return on your investment, right?
Word. So speaking of like pushing your projects forward, are you doing any joint projects and stuff like that or breeder loans? And what's some of your advice on the do's and don'ts of breeder loans if you're doing any of those?
Yeah, so I do breeding loans with Lord Lion, and I also do them with Billy. And the best thing I'd say is have like have like a set thing before, like set rules of what's gonna happen. Like basically, the way we do it is whoever has the most expensive snake gets first pick, and then it's second pick, third pick, and you just keep switching between the two of you. But if sometimes it doesn't always go well, you get bad odds, and that's when you have to be mature enough to go and say, you know what? Instead of me just taking the first pick and the third pick, the first pick is good enough. You can take the second and the third to make up because the rest of the clutch wasn't too good. You have to being fair and like taking your ego out of it is probably the best thing I can tell you, because a lot of people have this thing where I hear so many horror stories. They get into breeding loans with their friends and they're not friends anymore because someone's being greedy. You know, someone's being too nice. They're not putting their foot down. They're not going back. Like you can't let someone walk over you, and you can't just walk over someone else. You have to like respect each other, have mutual agreement, stick to that mutual agreement. You know what? Tell each other if things do go sour, like we only have one egg, what, and we end up selling it, we'll split the money, stuff like that. There's always other options. You don't have to like break a friendship or get sour over it. You can always find a way around it. Maybe even contact a larger breeder if you're having issues. Tell them what's going on, and there's always a way to resolve it. You don't have to like just take your egos out of it and just be nice to the next person, because karma is a true thing, right? So
For sure, for sure. Yeah, you can't be in here trying to mess people over. So when y'all
yeah,
do y'all breeder loans, do y'all like kind of do it on a handshake or do y'all have it written out?
handshake. It's just we don't even talk about it. We just know we've done it so many times and so long together. We know what's the deal already. So when things like that happen, where you know what, like I already have three of these. Like me and Billy just had one where we bred. Like my female is nothing compared to his male. His male is like a Enchi, OD Fire, Lesser, Hypo Clown, and mine's a double het female. We had two clutches with two of my double het females, and we hit two of the exact same thing as the male. We had a 1.1. He took the female. He gave me the male, even though he had first pick on the next clutch. He's like, you already have one too, but he's like, you could sell this. I'll take this. This is worth about the same amount. This is good for you. You can generate some cash to go somewhere else. So like doing that with someone, it's amazing when you have that friendship and that like just respect for each other, where you can go and say, you know what, this works better for you. I can deal with these. Here you go. That's like when, you know what, like the respect that you even gain for that person after, it's amazing. So like, don't be sour. Just take the ego out of it. Be as fair as you can, and just like don't be greedy, because too many people are too greedy nowadays. You know, like people on top of it, like you're making good money already. Why you still gotta keep people poor? Like, you know, you're doing your breeding loan with a friend trying to help them. Why are you kicking them? Like, you gotta be nice.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So, you, Billy, and Laura, y'all kind of on a different page with it. So, do you advise like folks to do paperwork with it, or do it on a handshake? And if you feel like you got to do paperwork, then maybe you shouldn't even be doing it with that person. What's your thoughts on that?
I say paperwork's always good, but like me and Billy were originally gonna do paperwork, but it worked so well between us that we didn't end up getting into it, and like we just had such a good understanding. If you have that understanding with each other, I don't see the need for it, but it's always good for a backup, and you both sign a paper, you know, witness there too, just so like you know that everything is good, even if you guys like still want to keep it sweet and not rip each other's heads off over a snake or something. It's just always better to have that back to fall on, but I don't see how many people are going to use it. I think a lot of people will be smart with what their decision is and take their ego out of it.
Word. So y'all got a real good team thing going on. So speak a little bit about like that team dynamic, what makes it so strong over in y'all camp, and kind of how that developed over time.
We're just very like we're different, but we have like similar personalities. We all like the snakes bring us together really, but we're all like into like similar sports, similar music, and like we all like we try to like connect outside the snakes as well. Like especially like me, like Elias, we like work out together sometimes. Like even yesterday, like we have a new guy working for us. His name's Matt. We brought him out to the gym, tuck into the sauna after. Just try to like build that friendship with him, because like when you're working with friends, it's a lot easier. And when you're working with someone who you're clashing with always, it can make you not want to go to work every day, right? So like that's really important for us. And like we try to do like things where like we have like lunch together every Friday. We have steak, we
Oh, dope.
barbecue. So like that really brings the team together, you know, and stuff like that just helps. It helps with everything really. So like when something like even like we get Billy mad all the time, right? So like when he yells at us, like, it's not a boss yelling at us like who's like wants to kill us. It's more like a friend yelling at us because we're being
A
dumb,
friend.
right? We could have did something stupid, so like we might have deserved it. So yeah, no, Billy, like, he's definitely the boss, but like you see him as like he's definitely not like a boss that you like, you know, like, oh, this is my fucking boss is walking in right now, I gotta go. Like Billy's there, he's a cool guy, right? He's one of us. Like, we're all like he's definitely above us, but we're still equal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a team dynamic, right? And we all part of the team. We all working together. Everybody's helping everybody at the end of the day. Yeah, Billy cool as fuck, man. Like I really enjoyed him when he was on the podcast, and then I enjoyed like listening to Billy. Like even before that, like I learned so much about Billy. Like Billy went on a rant one time about just going like balls deep and just like pushing for this, and like that was really like that had me like I'm gonna do this, bro. I'm gonna do this, and so like that's like really that's one of the times when that was really an inflection point. You know what I'm saying? Like in our journey, right? Just in terms of like developing that mindset and stuff like that. So yeah, Billy dope, man, super dope.
Yeah, Billy, like I don't think there's anyone who's more passionate than Billy. Like he'll go like forever. He has, even if he's tired, the energy just sparks up in him. He'll just go. Like, sometimes me, like I'm like, yo, I gotta go. He's still going at it. I'm like, wow, it's amazing to watch. Like his energy is definitely contagious. So like when he goes on those rants and he's showing his emotions, like it's hard not to like fall into it, you know. So definitely a good characteristic.
Yeah, he got some signature rants, and I fucking love it, bro. I love it. So obviously, like y'all feed off each other, and y'all learn a lot from each other. But speak specifically to something you've learned from Billy. Like what's like one of the most important lessons about this industry? It don't even have to be about this industry. But what's one of the most important lessons you've learned from Billy?
Literally, like probably investing, like just his mindset towards it, and like you just no doubt in it. Just go the leap of faith, jump into it, and like even like when to invest, what to invest in. Like he has like a good guideline on what to do for this hobby. Like, and you like it's if you follow it, it's pretty like safe. Like obviously there's always room for like error, and things we're dealing with live animals, things are out of our control. But he really taught me on like how to like, you know what, you just gotta do this structure, go into it, go spend your like. Don't be scared to spend your money because like if you like safe money won't make you money. Like if you go
Scared money
invest
don't make money.
yeah, that's too like right. So if you're investing, like you're scared and you're putting like you're trying to be safe with it, you got to take risks. And like I've seen Billy
Got
like
to.
lose. I've seen Billy lose before. I've lost before, but I've seen Billy win 10 times more than he's lost, and I've lost myself, and I've won 10 times more than I've lost. So it works for sure. Nothing's gonna be perfect always, but if you go and really like take that leap and like don't be scared, just go and do it. Good things can come, right? Obviously bad things can happen. Murphy's law, what will happen? Like if bad things happen, it will happen, right? So
Yeah.
but it's not always bad, especially if you have a positive mindset towards it and just dream big. Like you just like Billy, like he dreams big. Like this guy, like one day I remember at the old facility, he's like, we're gonna get a new facility, and within a month he comes to we're at this place, and I'm like, what the heck? Like how did this happen? Like that jump, like that investment, like and like what he's done with it, like that is like the thing that I've taken the most from Billy. Like just like really the drive. Like he has this work ethic and like that once he puts his mind to something, there's nothing that will stop him.
100%, 100%. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head, man. You got to be willing to take risks, right? You
Yeah,
got to be willing to take risks. Like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Shout out to
exactly.
MJ. And so
Literally.
you gotta be you gotta be willing to take the risk. Scared money don't make money. Like, you're gonna take some L's, but you're also gonna take some dubs, and
Exactly.
it's gonna work out at the end. You just gotta be confident, right? You're gonna take it on the chin. You get knocked down 7 times, get up 8.
Yeah.
hundred
If you
percent.
don't get back up, you
Yeah,
know what? It's not
that's
for
when
you. Yeah.
that's when you lose. You only lose when you don't get back up. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be willing to go out there. And so yeah, that's definitely something that I've noticed Billy communicate like all the time, and that's words of wisdom. You know what I mean? Definitely.
He has
So
me out here. He has me out here spending money I don't even have yet. Like
and
literally, like I'm out here like
you're not
grinding.
alone, brother.
So like yeah, like but like and I'm telling you, in the end, it pays off. That's why like I even like people from his Patreon. I hear stories of like people who like took loans and stuff, and like they're making amazing money now. They already paid off their loan, or they're already like working like almost paid it off. I'm like, holy cow! These people like success stories like that make me really happy. So like that's why I urge people to do as much research as they can and take the leap. Because if you don't have, only time you're not going to be ready for the leap is when you don't know what you're doing. So do the research, study for like days, weeks, months, and then maybe even a trial. Like a lot of people do the trial clutch, they go lower end. Once you got that nerves out of your system, just go as deep as you can go. Beautiful things will come from it.
Yeah. So when we started with like lower end animals, and our first few clutches has been lower end animals. Like next year is really when we're gonna get into like some of our higher end clutches, or at least relatively speaking. But I kind of wish we would have jumped in with like some higher end stuff. Like I have learned things along the way, but I wish we'd have started out a little bit higher on the higher end side. But the advice that I got like initially was like start out with like lower end stuff and then work your way up. I feel like I should have started out probably like a level or two ahead of where I started. But I mean, you live and you learn. You know what I'm saying? Like I've learned a lot. You know what I'm saying from when we first started because we haven't been doing it this long, like only since 2020. But I feel like I've
Wow.
learned a lot over that time period, and I feel like if I look back 3 years from now and we continue to do it, I will have learned even more. And it's all a constant growth process, right? And you just got to keep pushing forward. But at the end of the day, you got to be willing to take risks, and you got to be willing to go for what you want. And so, like, I think that's like a huge, important takeaway for anybody out there. Anybody, I mean, not just in ball pythons. That's anything. That's a life lesson. You know what I'm saying?
Literally,
And it's
yeah.
especially true. It's especially true here too, for sure. You got to go out there and get it.
Yeah. If you're waiting until tomorrow, you know what? The next day you're gonna say the same thing. You're gonna be tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. If you
Yeah,
don't just do it today and just get it done with, take that. You're scared. It's good to be scared. You know. Sometimes that you need that fear to drive you. Don't let that fear push you in the corner. You just gotta get up, keep fighting. Stand up for yourself. You know. Have that confidence.
yeah. It's a difference between being scared and being aware of the risk, right? Them two. That's two different things. Scared is like that's an emotion, right? You scared, and you cowering. That's how I see that. But like being aware of the risk and realizing the risk is out there, that means you thinking about it logistically, you analyzing what's out there, and then the next step in that thought process should be how can I mitigate that risk and what can I do, you know what I'm saying, to make that better, right? And so it's a difference between acknowledging it, right, and just cowering.
Exactly.
And you can't be out there scared and cowering. You got to go out there and get it.
And a good way to overcome
However
that
that
is
will look for you.
yeah,
Say
and a good
again.
way to overcome that is with like a list. Go write a list and like really break down like if you want to become like a top ball python breeder, go and break down every single step you have to go through, and then maybe even break it down one more and slowly climb that ladder. Because if you try to jump over stuff and you miss out a lot of lessons, things are gonna come harder for you. You're not. It's gonna take you longer to get up. You're gonna get tired of jumping. You might even fall down a couple of steps. So if you take baby steps to anything in life, it's definitely gonna make things a lot more easier, less stressful, and in the long run, you'll get there a lot faster.
100%. Those
Yeah,
incremental changes they compound over the long run.
exactly. It's easier to learn that way rather than cramming stuff in your brain and trying all these new things. It's gonna get stressful, and it's easier to give up that way.
Yeah, yeah. That make perfect sense. Perfect sense, bro. And so, like, when you're selling your animals, kind of switching subjects a little bit. So, like, what platforms are you using? You using just Morph Market? You doing shows? You doing a little bit of everything? What you doing to move your animals?
Sorry, I just had a cough attack. To move my animals,
Yeah.
like in what sense? Sorry, I totally like coughing cut. I couldn't hear anything.
Hey, that's that good.
Yeah. So what sense of moving? Like selling them?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, bro.
What sense of moving them? Like selling them, or like actually moving
Yeah,
them?
yeah, like selling them.
So mostly I use like here in Canada we have like Kijiji. It's like Craigslist. I also use
Okay.
Instagram. A lot of people DM me. Facebook as well, and then of course I use uh, Morph Market. But in Canada, it gets colder in the winter, of course, and we can't ship to the states, especially with the holidays around this time of the year. A lot of packages get delayed. It's not like feasible. It's not even smart to go ship with live animals. You don't want anything going wrong with them. So we can't ship from like December or the end of November all the way until like the end of February, early March. So right now, most of my sales are going to be Kijiji and within Canada. It's a little harder to sell here rather than the States, but as soon as that winter season's over, a huge list is going to go on Morph Market. I think Morph Market is probably the best tool for selling, especially if you're in the States, because you can list lower end snakes there. If you're outside the snakes in Canada or even other like Europe and stuff, if you want to sell outside of where you are, it's better to list snakes over $1,000. It's just easier because paying the shipping's not feasible. So
shipping and whatnot.
paying like $300 for a $200 snake, it's not worth it. Yeah.
So what's the show circuit like in Canada? Like what are the
So
big shows?
we have one. Well, there's one big show for us. It's in September. It's called CRBE. But there's also one more on the west coast. Well, it's more like central Canada, but they have like their own CRBE as well. And I believe theirs is inside of the summer or maybe October. I don't know too much about it. I've never been there. It's kind of far from me.
Is the
But our show,
CRB, did you say it's the biggest show?
yeah, it's the biggest show we have. It's nothing compared to like you. It's probably like the size of like an average Sunday show for you guys, depending where you are. So,
Gotcha.
and then we have a show this Sunday actually, but they're not usually that big. Maybe like 300-400 people come through, 500 max. Not like more people looking, a lot of pet people. You don't get too many like investment ball python breeders. So if you bring like snakes over $3,000, good luck selling them. It's usually like the $300 to $500 range you're selling at, and maybe if you're lucky you get a couple $1,000 sales. But at Kijiji you get better, and of course Morph Market is the best for selling high-end snakes.
Gotcha. So do y'all have like as far as like breeders in Canada, do y'all have like a real tight knit network?
Yeah, a lot of us are like it's a pretty close knit community. A lot of friends. Some people not so much friends, but like a lot of people. It's pretty close knit. Like even like with you guys in the States, like especially at Tinley, like people from everywhere, all across the states. You guys are just such close friends with each other. We have that here too, but I think you guys being in the States, you guys are a little bit more connected, especially with how many of you are there. So there's more people to be friends with. Here, there's not as many breeders, and not like transportation and traveling is a little bit harder than the States is. You guys have flights that
True.
are super cheap. Here, flights are expensive, crazy. Just to like go, maybe like an hour and a half flight is like $300 or $400. So it's stupid here. In the States, I see flights $100, so it's insane. Yeah, so it's a little harder for us to travel, but on Facebook, Instagram, a lot of us are really good friends with each other, and pretty tight knit group. Some
True.
people are like really small groups, and they go out all the time and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
So how long was that drive for you and Jaffe to Tinley?
It was like 8 hours, seven and a
Oh,
half.
just 8 hours? Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah,
That's not bad at all.
the GPS said
Yeah.
like 9.5, but it was like
Oh yeah,
we're
but you can
pretty close.
Florida make
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
You can
we
get
had
there
like
quicker
a
than that.
we had a bad rental. We had like a 2002 Honda Fit. It was not nice. So that thing didn't go past like I couldn't even hit 90 on it. It was horrible. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's dope, bro. And so what were your thoughts about Tinley?
Oh, it was amazing. Like crazy show. I seen people, one person make like 3 times more than everyone at the CRBE made in a couple of sales. So like I was blown away. Like just how much like just the amount of like people who came, the amount of sales that were made, the prices of the snakes that sold. Like in Canada, like I've never seen a snake over 5,000 or 10,000 sell in Canada show, and I was seeing $25,000 snakes sell there. It was blowing my mind. Just got to see how much bigger and how much like crazier it is in the States than here. Because here it's a drop in the bucket compared to what you guys have. Like like we're definitely a little jealous of like the hobby there. That's for sure.
Yeah, it
The
was
way things.
wild, bro. Like I got there like that Friday, but I didn't get there Friday during the day, so I didn't get to go to the actual show Friday. I got there like Friday late, but I heard like the stories of like some of the animals that were sold. Like it was like a Inchy DG Batman, I think it was that Bob
Yeah,
sold. I sold for like a crazy price. Like it was just
yeah.
like people making like literally making like six figures, bro, on Friday. That's
I seen
crazy.
that. Yeah, and that when I seen that, I was like, wow, the hobby's so much bigger than I thought it was. So it's just like, there's so much potential. There's so much more like room for like bigger breeders to step in, and there's so many different lanes to go in. So like, just because there's so many big breeders now, don't think that you can't be one of them. Like, I'm not talking about you specifically. Anyone watching, right? So like, you dream big. Like, anything's possible. Seeing that really like made me like think, holy cow, what can I do to like make myself bigger? what do I have to invest in next? What can I do to take my collection to the next level? Because just seeing like even like people who I haven't heard of what they had for sale, I was blown away. I'm like, I really need to step up my game if I want to be on top, or like even just be higher up, right? So there's a lot of big players, and that really
Yeah, it's a
shocked me about
lot of
that.
heavy hitters out there, bro. And like being at Tinley, like I experienced like kind of like that same dynamic. Like it was people who I hadn't even heard of yet that was vending at Tinley, like with just some straight fire, right? And so for me, like that's motivation. You know what I'm saying? Like I see this, I like this, I think I can take it here, here, here. You know what I'm saying? And just like really, like it was motivation. You know what I'm saying? Like just keep pushing, keep pushing. Yeah,
Yeah,
Tinley was a dope, bro. It was a whole vibe. Before Tinley, like Daytona was the biggest show that I had been to, but Tinley was just different vibes.
even after like the actual show, like the bar, the hotel, like just like how nice everyone was, how everyone could come together, talk about snakes, talk about other things as well. It was just like it was a really good experience. Like if you guys, none of you ever been to Timmy, highly advise going. I
Oh
go
yeah,
to
you
the
got to, bro.
I go to the fall show, but I heard the March show was good as well. I'm actually trying to go there this year, so try to experience that. But it's amazing. Like I'm probably gonna try going every single year now. I don't definitely do not want to miss it. See what's out there. Uh, just all the crazy things people bring. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll make it to the March show. In fact, I highly doubt I'll make it to the March show, just kind of like based on schedule and whatnot.
Yeah,
But the fall show, I'll definitely be there. I'm looking forward
nice.
to it too.
So I hope to see you there, man.
Yeah, yeah, man. We got to link up, bro. We got to go to Culver's too for sure. We
Oh yeah,
got to eat
lunchtime,
it
lunch
up,
break.
bro. Yeah, I'm sure we'll have the munchies.
We'll get some nice backwoods going.
Say again.
We'll get a backwoods going. But you don't smoke, do you?
Say again.
You don't smoke, do you?
Occasionally.
Occasionally.
Yeah, yeah,
Next Tinley is one of those occasions.
yeah. That'll be one of the occasions. Be a special occasion.
Okay, sounds good.
So talk about your breeding process. I know you keep your males in a while and whatnot, but kind of walk us through like your breeding process and kind of like what it looks like for you from start to finish.
So basically, when a female's at 11 millimeters, I check them around 1,200 grams. So 1,200 grams is when I'm gonna start pairing my female if she's over 11 millimeters. And then so I'm continuously feeding once a week. I feed smalls once a week. Some people feed mediums once a week, mediums every 2 weeks. I just feel smalls once a week is what works best for me. I'm still getting decent sized clutches, and a lot of females are going. So far, I'm at like 87 clutches or 89 clutches this year out of like 125 females, and it's pretty good numbers for me this year.
So you said
And
80 to 90?
yeah, I'm over 85. I think I'm 87 or 89 right now. I have a few
Oh
splits I
wow.
haven't added. Yeah, but like a few splits as well. So like it's a big number, and like I think that the way I feed, I don't know if it played like a way to if it dealt with it, but definitely the breeding did. So I still feed weekly breeding. I feed smalls to my females. I feed my males weans. And when the female is 1,200 grams and at 11 millimeters, I'll pair her once every month. And the main times you really have to pair, like sometimes if the male's really being stretched out, I'll pair only at 11 to 13 millimeters once, and I'll pair between 17 and 22 once, and then between 25 and 30 once. Usually around 28, and I found those are the three sweet spots where you get a really nice clutch, usually around 6 to 8 eggs. And I'm usually breeding smaller females, so sometimes I even have females who start at 1,200 grams. When they lay, they get up to like 1,800 grams because it's like a 3 or 4 month process. They gain the weight from breeding when they're still eating, and then they're laying 7 or 8 egg clutches their first year. So it's still pretty good. And like a lot of people say, wait till they're 1,600 grams or you won't get eggs. Like I just told this in my last podcast I did, but would you rather have one female laying a 5 to 8 egg clutch 1 year, and the next year giving you 6 to 8? So let's say you got 5 and you got 6, that's 11 eggs. Would you rather go and wait another year and only get 7 to 8 eggs? So it pushes
Yeah.
you further in your project. I haven't seen any harm to my females. They still grow up to an immense size. Like I have a pastel lesser mahogany vanilla het clown female. I started pairing her actually at 1150 grams, and then she actually laid around 1,700. She laid 8 eggs. It was a big clutch. That was 2 years ago. Last year she laid 7 eggs for me, and she was around 1,900 grams when she laid. This year she's already at 2,100 grams, and she's only around like 60 millimeters. So they're still growing at a really nice rate, even though I'm pairing them around 1,200 grams. So I haven't noticed anything wrong with that. So like some people, they have said that, and they tried saying, oh, it's not good for the snake. I think that's really just opinion based. I've noticed nothing. So pairing once a month for about a week. If you only have 4 females for the male, starting at 11 millimeters, 1,200 grams, once a month. And if you do have the ultrasound, you want to spread it out 11, around 17, and around 28 millimeters at the sweet spots I found for pairing and getting really good locks. And after that, after 30 millimeters, I stop pairing. And then around that time is when they stop eating, and I just let the female sit, change the water, and the male's doing other females at that point. So that's pretty much how I breed.
Gotcha. So that's one of the things that I've noticed too myself personally. Like, I don't necessarily get my biggest clutches from my biggest girls all the time. Like sometimes it's the smaller girls who I get bigger clutches from, right? And then like is like my larger girls who give me like a smaller clutch. Like it just kind of really depends, you know what I mean? Or at least that's been my experience so far. So you say you got like 85 to 90 girls going, averaging about 7 to 8 eggs a clutch, right?
Yeah, like 6 to 8.
6 to 8.
Yeah.
So like pushing like 600 hatchlings. How many holdbacks are you having kind of out of that total number of hatchlings? And
Yeah, it's so far I probably have like 85, 90. I might slim that down to like 70, 65. But like some of the quad head stuff, like I just need for the future. So probably gonna need more rack space for my females and grow the females a little bit
gotcha.
larger. Maybe have to get out of a couple of recessive projects and just really focus on a few double and triples for a while.
So what's your holdback strategy right now? Are you just kind of like
Um, some clutches I hold back nothing. Some clutches I hold back everything. It really just depends what it is. It's usually if I can't buy it, like if it's not on the market and it's a project I'm working for in the future, I'll probably gonna keep it because I can't buy a male that's better. Like especially, or I could, but just astronomical prices. It's not worth it for me at this point. I'd rather put my money in other projects. So like I usually just hold back females mostly, and I try to hold back the most powerful females from that clutch. And if I don't already have a male breeder that is more powerful than the male in that clutch, I won't hold back a male. But if it's a powerful male and it can possibly replace my male, I'll put the father of the clutch as a backup, and the next year he'll be the starting male for that project. That's
gotcha?
probably the best way I hold back. But there's sometimes I sold stuff that I wish I held back, and I held back stuff I wish I sold. So it's hard to say like there's
Yeah.
any perfect harmony. It's just like it's just finding what you want. And sometimes you're gonna regret it. Sometimes you're gonna be lucky. So
And so where you trying to top out at with your clutches?
probably like 100, 150 max.
All right, so
But
you're getting close to the 100 at least, and then
yeah,
from
I
there
thought
it's
it.
just rotating folks out and just upgrading.
Yeah, and just really focusing on those triples. And I don't even know. Sometimes I want to go bigger. Sometimes I want to go smaller. Like I think 200 females would probably be the biggest I would ever go, and there I probably push like 150 to 170 clutches. Anything bigger than that, I think, is way too much for me because I don't have employees obviously, and I already work snakes full time, so it's like it's a lot for me already. But I'm
Yeah,
only
I
at
can
120.
imagine.
Yeah, I'm only at 120 breeder females, and I'm not like overwhelmed yet, so I think I can go a little bit further. So I'm probably gonna push the collection a little further. It could just because quad heads, you need the numbers to make really get what you want, right? You really want to make an
Yeah,
impact, and even
yeah,
double recessive stuff. Like you can't just have like one or two females for the project. You need at least like 5 or 6, 7 or 8, and that's if you just want to be a player. If you really want to be a big dog in that gene, you want to have at least 10, 15, 20, and maybe even more. So you really want to see where you want to be, and like that's the best way to gauge how you're gonna grow.
Absolutely, 100%. It's a numbers game at the end of the day. It's good that you mentioned that because that was actually one of the questions I had in terms of like time management and what your routine looked like for your collection. With you working like all full time with mutation creation and then taking care of your own collection. Like, what does that routine look like for you?
A lot easier now than it used to be. Now that my collection's here, it's actually at Mutation Creation, and so like I just work my shift, and then I'll stay a little bit after, or I'll go home, go to the gym. Then after, I'll come back, maybe do some work that I didn't complete earlier for Billy, and then I just get to go do my collection. So a little less stress of having to like rush home and clean at home. And, like home is more of like a rest place now. Definitely gives me less stress. But I usually just clean. We have I have snakes in the whole back room, the breeder female room, and then the hatchling room. So I usually clean each room on a separate day. Saturdays I usually do all the holdbacks. That's probably the most snakes that there is, and like it's all the grow ups as well. So everything, and my males are actually in that room as well. So I clean all those on Saturday. It's about like I think like four full ARS racks, like the 1060s, and then after that I clean my females, and then one other day I clean my hatch things, and then I do pair rings another day, and then ultrasounding on an off day. So I'm pretty much working like 7 days a week with snakes. And it's like I don't really get a break, but I take vacations. I love what I do, so it's not that taxing on me. It's not as stressful as what it seems. Like I see like my friend Jaffe Exotics, huge shout out to him. Like he looks
Shout
at
out to
what
the
I do
homie.
and he says, yeah, he says I'm crazy because of the amount of snakes I have. Is he wants to keep his collection like very powerful and very small because the
Yeah,
lifestyle he wants to live. Like I'm not gonna go tell him no, you're stupid, you shouldn't do that. That's what he wants to do. Like he can tell me the
exactly.
exact same thing. I'm stupid, I'm crazy for this. But like that's why like there's so many like different avenues and different ways you can take the hobby, right? You could be like jump all the way in, or you can keep 1 foot in, 1 foot out. If you still want to maintain a full time job and do this on the side as like a hobby or like a side business, you could do that, or you just want to do this as a full time hobby. So, like I still have a full time job, and I try to do this almost as like a full time business as well. So like as long as you have the drive and the energy for it, like anything's possible, right?
Yeah, yeah. As long as you're committed to it, you can do it. 100%. 100%. So kind of given because a lot of people look up to you in the game. Like everyone, like it's well documented that you can ID snakes like as soon as like you think about putting the scissors to the edge, you can ID it and you can call a combo. So do kind of like with your stats in the game, do you feel like any added responsibility to like lead or give back to the industry?
Yeah, like I like to help people like always. Like I think that's just like part of who I am. But I see other people who are at the top who don't want to do that. So I wouldn't say it's like a moral obligation. I think it just comes down to who you are. Like if you really want to like be that person to help people around you, or even people you're never gonna meet. Someone on Instagram asking you for help or ID, or even like you know what is this a good investment? Which project would you do this? Like giving like taking a second of your time, but it can add up. Like I don't reply to every single message straight away because you look at my inbox, there's hundreds, and it's like I'm not telling people not to message me. I will get back to you. It's just sometimes it's overwhelming, but I think
You
I
one
do enjoy
person.
it. I do enjoy it because I love seeing when like I help someone and then they take their collection to the next level off my advice, or like I ID a snake for them that they were gonna sell as something else and they were gonna lose out on it. So, or even the opposite, they were gonna sell it as something more and they're gonna tarnish their name. So stuff like that, like I just enjoy seeing people like, succeed. That's why I try to go give as much knowledge as I have and tell my experiences. Like if I did this wrong, don't do this because I don't want to see you make the same mistake, get out of the hobby for something stupid, which I could have helped you with. So but I do see like, especially in the past, I feel a lot of the breeders were giving misinformation. So I don't know if being a big breeder does give you that moral obligation. So
Got you.
I don't feel it.
So you don't have your own personal Patreon, right? Or at least
No,
not yet.
I was
You ever thought
going
about
to.
one?
I was gonna do it about a year ago. It'd just be more work for me. I'd rather just focus on like, the health of my collection, my breeding, and my sales. It's already a lot of work just doing that and working for Billy as well. So a little too much to wrap my head around. But if I had a little bit less, I probably would. But
Gotcha.
as for now, no.
Gotcha. That makes sense. That make perfect sense.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on the industry and like kind of where the industry is going like over the next few years? Like you got a are you got a bullish outlook or a bearish outlook? Like you think it's going up, you think it's going down? What's your thoughts?
I think lower end stuff is gonna like hit rock bottom. I think a lot of morphs are gonna be at that pastel or almost normal price, and it's gonna shock a lot of people because they like those morphs, they like how they look, but the monetary like the value of it's not there anymore because it's been around for so long. There's already been so much. It's overused. It's oversaturated the market, and I really think a lot of like niches, like you already see Desert Ghost Clown that went up, Ultramel Clown went up, a lot of doubles and triple recesses. They're like holding that price point, right? So I feel like a lot of people who are not going into those doubles and triples. That's why I keep preaching it and telling everyone get into the doubles, at least the recesses, and then work towards doubles and triples in the future. Because if not, you're gonna lose out, and you're gonna want people kicking yourself, wondering what's going on. Why can't I sell my snake? Why am I not making money? These people say they're making money. You have to go and jump into those bigger projects. And the future, like everyone is doing it already. And if you catch the bus late, you're not gonna get a seat. So
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah,
yeah,
it's like musical chairs.
exactly. You gotta be quick at it. So yeah, that's why taking that leap of faith and like sometimes even jumping on those new codoms, like you're saying, if you do have the setup, that foundation, you're ready for that leap. If you're not, focus on building that foundation because that foundation is what's going to keep you and your longevity in this hobby. If you don't have that foundation of females, like, you have the most powerful male, but you're still not going to be making the dent you could be. So that's just like go and invest into the higher end stuff. Stay away from the lower end stuff. Maybe like level up everywhere. That's where I see everyone's just leveling up, and like
Yeah,
hearing what like people I've never heard of, or people who don't even have a big following, seeing what they're producing, it's scaring me almost. Like I'm like you know what? Like I have to step up. I have to go. I'm not doing enough, and I feel like a lot of other people are feeling that too. So that's going to be pushing a lot of people to higher new heights, right? So if you're not chasing those heights, you're going to be falling really far behind in this hobby. So chase the heights in the
yeah.
hobby.
You definitely got to level up because it's leveling up, and I feel like genetic testing and stuff like that is only going to push it further. And like
It's
I
going to
feel the
make it.
same thing too. Like it's gonna kind of like be a squeeze over the next few years, especially kind of like as sales of some of like those lower end animals slow down. Like folks gonna really like shift and like really like set their sights on like those higher end things. And so you kind of got to go where the market going. You know what I'm saying? If you're doing this from a business perspective, if you're just doing it from a strictly hobbyist perspective and you have no concerns about sales and all that kind of stuff, then that's a whole different scenario. But if you're doing it from a business perspective and like really trying to like ratchet up, you know what I'm saying, your level in the hobby slash industry, then you got to kind of be thinking differently right now. Especially right now, I think now is really important. It's kind of like an inflection point for like the next few years going forward. At least that's what I'm seeing. And definitely hearing other folks who much more experienced than me in the game talk about. And so that's kind of like my thought process about it right now.
Yeah, I think hobbyists are gonna get a lot from this. It's gonna make a double-edged sword for them though, because they're gonna be able to work with so many different projects that they never thought they could, because the price points are gonna be coming down. But also what they're producing, their hobby's gonna cost them a lot more because rap prices are going up. Everything's going up,
But
and
they going
keeping
up, bruh.
and and people like especially hobbyists or people who are trying to take it to the next level on a budget don't understand that keeping a $300 snake costs the exact same amount to keep a $3,000 snake. So, like keeping that in mind is a big thing. So look at your racks. Imagine every spot worth $5,000, and if you have a $100 snake in there, you might want to start leveling that up so you know what you can get that full potential of that rack spot, right? Especially with people
Yeah,
who are working with like minimal space. Like I'll bring it back to Jaffe again. That's why he also keeping it low. He doesn't have the biggest space right now. He said even when he does, he doesn't want to get it bigger. But if you're working with a smaller space like that, he did great with it. He invested properly. He's made amazing animals, and his
Amazing,
hatching,
bro.
yeah, his
Amazing.
hatchling rack is almost at like it's at really high potential. That's where you want to be. You want to be potential in your female rack and your hatching rack. So like even for sale stuff, but you want other people to see the potential in that, and that's what drives them to buy it, right? So that's what like even when you're trying to hit stuff, like you're trying to hit those double and triple recessive projects, also keep in mind what you miss, because that's what's going to be selling. So like that's why breeding like a quad head to a quad head's nice, but you realize a lot of that's going to be wholesale, because
Yeah.
no one's going to go buy a possible quad head male. The possible quad head females you might get at like 500 to 1,000 depending what's in there if there's markers. But other
Yeah.
than that, and genetic testing as well, right? But not all genes can be genetic tested, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff at play. So remember what you miss. That's another thing people don't think of. Because you think about holding back, yeah, I'll make this, but that's a 1 in 68 odds, man. You know, you have to look at everything else that you're actually going to hit, and what's way more. It's like, it's every time you buy a lottery ticket, you expect to win the lottery. No, you're not going to win. You might
Right. You're
win like a
not
little.
every time.
You might win a little bit. You might lose. You might like win half the
And
ticket
you might
back,
get
or you might get
$1. You
lucky.
might get a free
Yeah,
ticket. Or you might
exactly,
hit
right?
bid.
So,
You never know.
but a lot of times you lose. So remember that, like those big odds, chase them. But remember what you're missing too, because that's the most important stuff. That's what's going to be on your morph market. That's what's going to be in those racks. That's what you're feeding every week to go and sell. And sometimes holding that back for a year is going to hurt you financially, especially if you're not wholesaling stuff. So that's why wholesale comes into play a lot, and learning when to wholesale, what to wholesale, and again, fixing those pairings to know what you're going to miss and what's going to be for sale, right?
100%, bro. Those gems right there for sure. For sure. So I got a few random questions for you, bro, before I let you get out of here
Yeah.
and enjoy the rest of your night. So if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
Portugal.
Portugal?
Late. Yeah, I'm Portuguese first of all, so like it's probably a little biased, but like other than that, it's just everything's very cheap there. People seem to be more happy there, a little more laid back lifestyle. I think
Okay.
especially like if you live in a city, like it's more of a rat race, and like that can like drive you, but it gets tiring after a while. Like always having to be flashy, or like go and get that drive to make money. Like you kind of like lose that aspect of like the simple, peaceful life, right? Like there's a lot of beautiful things in life that get misconstrued with all the commercials and stuff, and it's the way of life we live. So like getting away from that, it would definitely be something nice.
Nice. What a ball python game look like in Portugal?
There's a couple. See, I've been slacking so bad on my YouTube videos. I have to do the freaking Tinley video still. I have 2 videos for Tinley I haven't done yet. It's been like 2 months. Things have just been crazy here. I've been chasing some dreams, doing some stuff, like making big things with the collection. And I'm definitely gonna get to that. I have a video of my friend Most Wanted Pythons. He's in Portugal. Ricardo. He's a great guy. He has a crazy collection. And I did not expect to see what I saw there. And there's a couple other really cool breeders I had a dinner with. And it's not as big as it's very small compared to even what we have in Canada. And it's the market's not there, but like the passion for these people and like their projects is definitely there. And it's like I definitely would still keep snakes there, but I don't think I'd be doing it for like it'd be more of a hobby at that point.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
So if you could have dinner with any 3 people, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Uh, I'd probably be philosophers, like 3 different philosophers. Like I'd probably go like Plato, uh, Socrates, and there's so many different people. I'll step away from the philosophers. I'll probably say like my biggest like idol since I was a kid, probably like Cristiano Ronaldo, like the soccer player, just because like he's just like a big idol to me and like someone I always looked up to. Like I wanted to be a soccer player most of my life, and that's somewhere I was
Gotcha.
going towards. But then like obviously like I had other dreams as well, and then things got in the way. But like that's someone like I look up to even today, like someone like who has a drive to always be better and do better and doesn't like to like take a break. And that's something like I did in my collection, or like everything in life, like either the gym or like even just like my collection, work ethics, and other jobs, and like that can take you so much further in life. And just like I'm really big on like people's mindsets and like learning a lot from people, and like like see like what like change I can make for myself, because you can't really change the world, but you can change yourself, and when you change yourself, it changes the world around you. So little changes in like a mindset. I like to have a dinner with someone I could really like pick their brain and like learn a lot from. That's why I would pick at least those two philosophers. And then the drive from like Ronaldo would be just like the work ethic and like just that push to like always, like it's something Billy has too, like to always push yourself. It's something I feed off him, because when Billy pushes himself, it makes me want to kick myself in another gear, right?
That's
So
dope, bro.
yeah,
That's dope. That's dope. Yeah, that's the first time someone said philosopher. So that's real dope. That's an interesting spin. But yeah, that make a whole lot of sense, bro. And then the drive, yeah, like so one of my answers when I answered the question was Kobe, but it was for like those same
yeah,
reasons, like that drive, right?
yeah,
That just that push
yeah.
yourself and just get up and go and go get what you want. You know what I'm saying in life? But yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%, 100%. And another one of my answers was Tupac, but it's kind of on that same vibe as the philosophers because
Yeah.
that was like so something like your same reasoning. Well, did you want to talk to the philosophers? With like some of the same things like I want to talk to Tupac about. So yeah, that's dope, bro.
Yeah.
Hundred
Yeah,
percent.
he was a philosopher himself, so
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, a
yeah,
new age philosopher.
yeah. Just with his own little spin on it. So
Yeah,
and then and another one is if you won $10 million, so US tomorrow, what would you do with it?
I'd probably invest like 1 million into like ball pythons.
Oh,
Here,
nice.
see, like here, like where I live, houses are expensive compared to you guys. Like or like across the whole state. Like there's some places where houses are about the same, but like the average house here is over $1 million for like a small house, like 1,600 square feet. So if you're getting anything bigger in the city, you're looking at like 3 or 4 million. So I'd invest in like some
Oh,
smaller investment
wow.
properties. Yeah, like if you have like a 4,000 square foot house, you're looking at like over 2.5, 3 million. Depending on where the area as well, right? Like some areas you can have the same size house and it's going for 5 or 6, 7 million. So, but there's also like cheaper areas, of course. But like they're like 7, 800,000, and you're getting nothing really. So I'd buy some property, like a nice house, then some investment properties, and
Nice.
then just like residual income. Cause I don't like not that I don't like to work. It's like I sort of work now so that I don't have to work when I'm older. And like I like to retire at like a younger age, like 35 or something around there, and then just move abroad to Portugal and live off income from other stuff,
Yeah.
right? So that's the dream.
And make that horizontal income from there.
Yeah, exactly. Or I can just go. I'm making money sleeping, you know. That's the beauty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. So, what's one question you wish I would have asked you, bro, and how would you have answered it?
Oh, that's a good question, man. I wish you would ask me who my favorite MC member was.
Now you got to spill the beans, bro.
uh, probably just because like me and Lord have like like we're like almost the same age, so like we get along a lot of crazy stuff. Like we have a lot of similarities. Probably be Lord, but like yeah, I say Lord. No offense to Billy though. Billy, you're a close second. I'm letting you know. But it's me and Lord. We connect on a different level on a lot of things. So
Nice, nice.
yeah,
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, I would definitely have to hit up Lord too. Yeah, we definitely need to get him on the show too.
100%.
Definitely, definitely, bro. Well, bro, it's been great tonight, man. I really enjoyed talking with you. I've been looking forward to this. Like I said, intently, it was a whole vibe, bro. It was real good kicking it with you.
It was
Definitely
nice.
good. Even seeing you outside of the show and just chilling at Coles for a little bit, like all that was good. And definitely looking forward to seeing you again in the near future, bro. Appreciate you
Definitely, man.
coming on the show tonight. It's been good, man. Dropping all kinds of gems. So I know folks gonna learn a lot. There's a lot to be learned from you. You definitely like you're at the top of your game, bro. A lot of folks look up to you. A lot of folks
Appreciate it.
like really respect. Like when people we talk about like who gonna be leading the game, like in the future, like your name come up all the time. Like you
Oh shit.
always in the
I don't
conversation.
know
So,
about
bro,
that,
that's
man.
an honor, bro. That's an honor, bro.
There's some big shoes to
Yeah.
fill. Some big shoes to fill, man. I'll try my best. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. Like serious, man. I appreciate being on the show. Like everybody, subscribe to the channel right now if you're not already. Hit the like button. Go share this. Tell everyone you know. Maybe one of you guys would be on here next. You know, Mike's always looking for people. Try your best. If you make some crazy stuff, I'm sure Mike will come knocking, hit you up on Instagram, ask you for a show. So go to your full potential. Subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to my channel too if you want. But this one's more important. Subscribe here. And just thanks again, Mike, for having me, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, bro. So tell everybody where they can find you online.
Okay, so on Instagram at Royal Highness Pythons, and then on YouTube, you search up King Austin, you'll find me. And then I have to do one more plug, and this is for my friend Patrick, Dragon Soul Reptiles. So he's on Snakes and the Fat Man, 50 Minutes of Lame. Go and vote for him. He's a great guy, like one of the funniest guys I ever met. Like we just hit it off. Crazy guy. You guys, everyone, you have to see this guy. He deserves it. Go and vote for him right now. Vote for him every day until Christmas.
Yes, sir. Go vote for the homie Patrick. We actually got Patrick on the show. We got Pat on the show December 15th, so 2 weeks from today.
Coming up.
And yeah. So it's coming up, and so he gonna put in his case for why he should be the lamest person of 2022. So y'all definitely go holler at the homie Pat.
He's a great guy. Everyone go follow Pat too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Dragon Soul Reptiles. There you go in the chat too, saying "Let go." Yeah, definitely holler at the homie Pat, man. I'm looking forward to kicking it with Pat on the show too. Yeah, and definitely appreciate the shout out, bro.
Pat called me today, Pat told me to call him yesterday. I went to the gym and then we went to the sauna and I didn't have my phone in the sauna. It slipped my mind. Pat, call me right now. Like right after this, call me. I'm gonna be feeding, so I have some time to chat. So just give me a call. Sorry about that.
Hey, Pat got everybody putting out a video, bro. Everybody. Like I think I seen Jay-Z put out a video, bro.
Oh, he's got connections everywhere.
I see like Jay-Z, Michael Jordan. I was like,
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, he's a great guy. He deserves it. That's why I'm saying go check him out. Mike, you're a great guy too. Everyone hit the subscribe button right now. If you haven't already, the like button once again. Check out the next week's podcast. Check out the podcast with Pat. I'm definitely going to check into that. Who do you have next week?
Next week we got Ray from Alluring Serpents.
Nice. So everyone check that one out too, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, anytime.
Appreciate you, bro. Again, appreciate you for coming out the show. Can you hang out for just a second? I'm going to play the outro real quick and let everybody know how much I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all coming out every single week. Really appreciate the support. Definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not already subscribed. Hit that like button, comment, subscribe, smash that notification bell. Definitely subscribe to Austin. Follow him everywhere. I'm sure y'all already following Austin everywhere, but if you're not, definitely catch up with your game and follow him everywhere. But thank y'all for coming out. Be blessed. Good night. Peace. The outro didn't play, so I'm gonna just end it. Peace.